Today I'm going to be sharing 5 things with you that will help keep you from getting frustrated while quilting. So let's jump right in and start with number 1. The first thing that has really helped me not get frustrated while piecing a quilt is getting a 1/4 inch foot for my sewing machine. This really makes sewing that 1/4 inch seam just that much easier because I can line up the fabric right along the side of the foot instead of starting to see lines on my sewing machine or something else. It really helps my blocks get sewn nice and even so that they all come together and points meet. It has really made a difference in my sewing. Next up is putting a fresh new needle on my machine. Have you ever had some stitches just turn out really weird and you're not sure why? A lot of time it's because your needle needs to get changed. It is getting dull. There also can be any things like other things you need to try, like rethreading your machine and different things like that. But a go-to I always think about is, when was the last time I changed out that needle? So definitely make it a habit to change that out between any big projects. Now, as with any sharp object, it's always a good idea to think of how you dispose it to keep other people safe. Tracy from the Sewing Channel gave a great idea with rotary blades for wrapping it up in tape and maybe putting a piece of cardboard in there to keep it from harming someone. So I thought that was such a good reminder on making sure we are thinking about others with all these sharp instruments that we use in our sewing room. Now, my next tip is changing out your rotary blade when it needs it. Oh my goodness, how frustrating is it when you have an old dull blade and it just won't cut through your fabric? Ah, that is just so frustrating because it's hard to get a good cut after that first wonky, horrible one. And I feel like I'm just wasting fabric. So put a new blade in and you'll just be so happy with how much easier it is to cut through your fabric. Nice. Now, as with the needles, when you change out that rotary blade, make sure you put it somewhere safe so that it doesn't harm others. What I like to do is I keep the plastic cases that my blades come in, and I store all the old ones in one that is marked saying that they are trash, they're old. And then after it gets full, I will tape it up to make sure it doesn't come open in the trash can. And then I have the one with my new blades that is not marked, so I know that these are the ones that are new and nice and sharp still. When this one's empty, I keep it to refill as well. Now, the next tip for you is to make sure you are regularly cleaning and oiling your sewing machine. So I have a little kit that I got in one of my subscription boxes that I use for cleaning out my machine. And I'll just use the little brushes and dust out everywhere. And then I fill up, well, I guess I don't fill it up, but I put a little drop of oil in all the places on my machine that needs oil. Oh, so really, how often do you clean your machine? Oh my goodness, it makes such a big difference though. And every time I do, I wish I had cleaned it out sooner because there is nothing more frustrating than doing a beautiful row of stitches and then flipping it over to press it and seeing that you have lint and dust stuck to the threads on the other side. Oh, I hate that. Does that happen to you or is it just me? Oh my goodness. Okay, so my last tip for you is to get a lock, a good lock on your sewing room door or your sewing space door, or get, send the spouse away on maybe a golf outing or something like that so that you have uninterrupted sewing time. Although that sounds lovely, I am just kidding. So for my last tip for you is to make yourself some design boards or buy some. Once I started using design boards, it really made my life so much easier. So my design boards are honestly so simple. I don't make them really cute, but they are practical and easy to use. And the reason I love them is because you can put all of your cut fabrics for your block on the board, and everything stays nice and tidy. You can lay it out in the design you want to sew it and bring it over to the sewing machine and just sew everything together much easier. It's made me have to um, it has made it where it's less often that I have to rip out the seam ripper, because I'm not mixing up where the fabrics go in my block. I absolutely love them. So those are my top 5 tips that will keep you from getting frustrated while quilting. But I'd love to hear from you. What are your best tips for keeping the frustration away while quilting? I would love to hear from you. Leave them below in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.